Hello and welcome to another video review brought to you by yours truly, Thorzine. Today we're going to be taking a look at another Mortal Kombat figure by the way of Sub-Zero from the Mortal Kombat Classic Ninja 6-pack. This 6-pack also contained Reptile, Smoke, Noob, Ermac, and Rain in addition to Sub-Zero. As you can see, this is from the 4-inch line and does scale well with other 3 3/4 inch figures like G.I. Joe and Marvel Universe, making them perfect for some cross-continuity playtime. The figure itself is not a bad figure at all. It does catch a bit of flack on the internet for not being as intricate or as cool as the Cyborg Ninja 3-pack figures. But as a standalone figure, it's still a pretty strong figure on its own. As you can see, there are not quite as many molded details through the figure as on the Cyborgs, but then again, there were not quite as many details to mold into him based on the character they were given. As you can see, each figure in the 6-pack has uniquely colored eyes. Sub-Zero's here are blue. Kinda neat. A neat little touch where they could have gotten away with a simple black dot or just leaving them white. They did choose to add an individual color to each figure, give them each a little bit of personality. Now that we've had a good look at the figure here, let's take a look at the actual articulation. The foot is attached with the hinge point, the typical hinge point, as well as a swivel point there at the ankle. The knee is single hinged, allowing for 90 degrees of movement there, as well as 360 degree rotation at the knee. The hip contains a ball joint which allows for 90 degrees of lateral motion, as well as this about the same in the forward direction. And you can also spin the leg 360 degrees there at the hip. Get that straightened back out there. There's nothing here at the waist, but mid-torso you have the typical articulation point that allows you to rock the upper body forward and backwards, as well as turn it from side to side. You do get a full 360 degree rotation there mid-torso. The hands are attached with the typical peg and hole assembly, which allows for 360 degree rotation at the wrist. Elbow is single hinged, allowing for 90 degrees of movement there, as well as 360 degree rotation with the swivel point that is right above the elbow. In the shoulder you'll find the typical ball hinge as well as a swivel point there. The ball hinge allows for a little more than 90 degrees of lateral motion in the arm, and the swivel point allows for a full 360 degrees of rotation in the arm. The head is attached with the ball joint, which allows you to tilt the head forward and backwards a little bit, as well as side to side for expressive posing. And of course you do get the full 360 degree rotation there in the head with the ball joint. Articulation wise, not too bad. It's pretty on par with most G.I. Joes and Marvel Universe figures, and considering that he is in scale with those figures, I'm pretty happy with that. The only complaint I do have about this figure is that they do use the same kind of matte finish on the paint applications as they did on the Cyborg 3-pack, which does give the figures a slightly cheaper feel, which does add to some of the bashing that I've seen on the internet. They also use a slightly more rubbery plastic than Hasbro would use on their figures. Again, that does kind of add to some of the nerd rage that you see on the internet. But if you look at it as a standalone figure, it's not a bad figure at all. I don't know if the 6-pack itself is worth what they're asking on eBay, which is currently between $60 and $70 for the 6-pack. If you can find it at retail, I would definitely recommend it. For $35, you can't go wrong. You get 6 out of the 7 ninjas from the Mortal Kombat series, all in 3 3/4 inch scale, ready to fight with your G.I. Joes and Marvel figures. Final thoughts on this figure: if you can find them at retail, get them. If you can't, you kind of got to decide on what they're worth to you. Once again, this has been another video review brought to you by yours truly, Thorzine. Tune in again when we'll be taking a look at some more toys. Thanks for watching. Later, folks.